Look look at these cute mini gingerbread men. They look cute, aren't they? But I bet they taste even better than they look. And they're just gonna go perfect with this yummy cup of coffee. Okay. So, good morning. I'm Maria. Welcome back to my channel. Hola, yo soy María. Bienvenidos otra vez a mi canal. Díganme que esto no es hermoso. The best thing you've ever seen. Okay, so today we're gonna cover a movie that is just perfect for those people who wanted something a little bit hilarious, but also a little bit naughty, like that are not warm and fuzzy about the holidays as I am. But it's still a Christmas movie, so I feel like it's another side of Christmas that I think is good for the people who are not so Christmas jolly. So yeah, it's gonna fuel that little naughty boy in you, okay? So yeah, I'm gonna finish my coffee and then we're gonna get started on this movie. I think you guys are gonna love it. It's gonna be funny. You guys are gonna laugh your socks off, okay? From the beginning to the end. It's hilarious, okay? So, oh, by the way, I also want to say happy birthday to anybody who's having a birthday today. Happy birthday to you. I hope you're having a terrific birthday, okay? So, let's drink our coffee. So, the movie is called I Saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus, okay? And this movie is hilarious. Has anybody ever seen this movie? If you haven't, you need to watch it. It is hilarious. You can watch it on Amazon Prime for free. In the where they let you watch movies for free. If you watch ads, you can watch this one for free on there. It's really cool. It's amazing. But in this one, it makes you feel sad for Santa Claus. It makes you feel sorry for Santa Claus because this little boy lets him have it. Okay. So yeah, let's begin. But before we get started, I wanted to pop in here and show you what I'm wearing today. My Christmas stuff today. Look at these cute little ears and the makeup. Oh, and also the earrings. Any hints as to who my favorite Christmas character is? Any guesses? Yeah. So, let's begin this Christmas movie. Mischief. Fun! Mischief is fun. Okay. But before, say hi. Say hi. Okay. Okay, so in this movie, the main character is Justin, who is played by Cole and Dylan Sprouse. I think that's what their names are. They came out in that TV show, The Sweet Life of Zach and Cody. And I think in the other one, they did another TV show. And what makes this movie so hilarious is that because of a misunderstanding, Justin targets Santa Claus or anybody who happens to look like Santa Claus with a great assault. He goes full force. He launches a no prisoners war against Santa Claus to protect his family. What makes it also hilarious is that he even thinks that there is a possibility that his mother could potentially have a relationship with Santa Claus. And that's what makes it hilarious, because he actually believes that there's it's the idea of Santa Claus, having a relationship with a parent. I guess it makes sense, because he's a little kid, he doesn't understand, but but what makes it hilarious is that he's a little boy, okay? And although he's a little boy, when it comes to protecting his family, he goes all out. He's dedicated to his mission, And, yeah. So, in the beginning, how does this... at the beginning, we find out that Justin is this very nice boy. He's a very well behaved. He does his homework. He does his chores. He is what you would call the perfect child, right? And then this perfect child situation comes crumbling down when he comes down after Thanksgiving one night. And what happens is his parents get into a fight over money, okay, finances. Turns out that the father opens a new business, I guess, and is not doing so well, and the mother is in a job that doesn't pay her enough, so they're struggling financially, and they are afraid that they're not going to be able to cover all their bills and still have money for Christmas, so they can give their kid a good Christmas and stuff like that. So they argue, and then the father, when they both calm down, they both try to say they're sorry, apologize to each other. The father gets this great idea, okay? I have a Santa suit, I'm going to put it on, and I'm going to, apologize to my wife, okay? But he has no idea that by putting that suit on, he has just unleashed this tragedy, if you want to call it, this incident, this terrible event, his son happens to come down, and he happens to see him dressed in the Santa suit, okay? And they don't see him, okay, because he just peeks in, and they don't notice he's there. He sees Santa Claus. He sees Santa Claus kissing his mother. And that is where this whole movie, all the events of this movie being hilarious begin, okay? He is very shocked. He's a little angry that Santa Claus and his mother have something, because he feels bad for his father, and he doesn't want his family to get divorced, because he has a best friend who happens to be, whose parents happen to be going through a divorce. And he doesn't want the same thing to happen to him. So he's very protective of his parents being together, So he goes upstairs, and he calls his friend, and he says, "Hey, I just saw my mother kissing Santa Claus." And his friend is like, "Hey, man, that's so cool." And his friend is like, "You can milk this day. You can get gifts. You can get more gifts, If your mother is dating Santa Claus, you're probably going to get a lot of gifts, And the kid is like, Justin's like, "No, I don't care. I don't want gifts. I don't want my mother going out with Santa Claus." So, this is where the fun begins, okay? He decides he's trying to come up with a plan. He wants to do something to stop Santa Claus from coming to his house, so he will stay away from his mother, okay? And while he's coming up with a plan to split Santa Claus and his mother up, he happens to run into this guy who's dressed as Santa Claus, because it's the Christmas season, and there are people dressed as Santa Claus everywhere. And I feel bad for this guy who happens to run into this kid, because this kid is pissed off, okay? And he's so mad and so protective of his family that he sees this guy dressed as Santa Claus, and he throws a snowball at him and makes faces, and I think he says, "Stay away from my mom," And just then, it so happens that his friend gives him an idea. "Hey, if you go on the naughty list, if you're on the naughty list, maybe Santa Claus won't come to your house, because he only visits kids who are good on the good list, right?" And his friend is important in this movie because his friend happens to be the troublemaker in his classroom, okay? Both his friend and Justin are in the same classroom, and his friend happens to be the troublemaker. He's the one that's always bothering kids, that bothers the teacher, that throws things around the classroom, He's the one that's always going to the principal's office. So, Justin asks his friend, "Hey, can you teach me to be bad? I need to go on that naughty list so that Santa Claus will not visit my house." So he starts misbehaving in the classroom. He starts throwing things. He's going to the principal's office every single day. Yeah. He goes from being a very nice, from being a well-behaved, perfect child to um, a monster child, if you will, and but that happens to not be enough. Why? Because his friend points out to him that although he might be on the naughty list, his parents are good, which means that Santa Claus is still going to be visiting his house to give gifts to his parents. So he says, I gotta change my strategy. I gotta change it. I gotta do something else because he cannot come to my house. He needs to stay away from my mom. So, and while he's trying to brainstorm an idea, his grandfather comes over because at this moment his father has gone away on a business trip. Okay, he's working in a job far away, and his mother thinks that his son is acting up because his father is gone. Okay, so his grandfather comes over and offers to take him to the mall. Okay, yeah. And before he takes him to the mall, his mother tells his son that she got a new job. Okay, that she is working, that she's gonna be working close, uh, very close to Santa Claus because she's working in a toy company. And that, instead of making Justin happy, makes him even more angry because he's like, oh my god, Santa Claus is really trying to weasel himself in between my father and my mother. He has hired her in a company and now they're going to be working closely together, and I need to do something fast. Okay, and then his grandfather says, hey, do you want to go to the mall and see Santa Claus? And that's when his little mind starts working and he's like, and he gets the good idea, a great idea. He's like, yeah, let's go see Santa Claus. Okay, so they go to the mall, and his grandfather, he's next in line to see Santa Claus, and his grandfather says, hey, I'm gonna go check out the store. When you're done seeing Santa Claus, you wait for me here. I'll be right back. Okay, so his grandfather leaves, and he's next in line to see Santa Claus. And get this, the same guy who he threw the snowball at happens to be the same guy who's playing Santa Claus in that mall. Poor guy. If you didn't dislike children, he is probably starting to dislike children right about now, right? Well, Justin goes up to him, and the guy sees him and recognizes him, and he tries to play it cool. He's like, hey, how you doing? Do you want to tell Santa Claus what you want for Christmas? Come on up, But Justin is not having it, okay? He is pissed off that this guy is, that Santa Claus is trying to get with his mother, and he's not taking any excuses. He goes up to him and he tells him to stay away from his mother. He threatens him. He says, stay away from my mother or I'm going to let you have it, And he kicks Santa Claus, okay? And the poor guy, I guess he's already had enough with this kid, that he starts chasing him around the mall. And to top it all off, because he chases this kid around, he gets fired from the mall. Poor guy. He's having a terrible Christmas season, huh? Well, just as he the Santa Claus gets escorted out of the mall and gets fired and kicked out, Justin is waiting for his grandfather. His grandfather comes back and says, hey, did you tell Santa Claus what you wanted? And the kid says, yeah, I let him have it. And the grandfather's thinking, oh, that is so sweet. My grandchild still likes Santa Claus. He's so cute, He's such an innocent kid, Well, he has no idea what his grandchild just did. Okay? And let's move on to the next hilarious moment of this movie, okay? Justin is trying to cover all his bases to try to, like, put an end to Santa Claus and his mother, right? So he sends a letter to Mrs. Claus. No joke. He sends a letter to Mrs. Claus. He puts in the photo of his mother and Santa Claus kissing. And I guess to try to tell Mrs. Claus your husband is cheating on you, put a rein on this guy, And he sends it through the mail to the post office, and the post office sends it back to his house and gives it to his mother. As soon as his mother sees it, his mother's like, "Oh my God, it's so cute. My son is such a good boy. He sent a letter to Santa Claus." That is until she opens the letter and sees what he sent Santa Claus. And that's when she's like, "Oh my God, something is wrong." But she can't figure out what the heck is wrong with her son, okay? Okay, the next part. The next hilarious portion of this movie. Hilarious, okay? The guy who got fired from the mall happens to get a gig going to classrooms during the Christmas season. You know how sometimes teachers hire or schools hire guys dressed as Santa Claus to come into the classroom, right? For the Christmas parties, that they have right before they go for Christmas break. Well, the irony, okay? This guy gets hired to go to classrooms to as Santa Claus, right? This poor guy. Karma is cruel to this poor guy. Let me tell you why. He gets hired to go into a classroom, and it so happens that the classroom he gets hired for is Justin's classroom. No joke. Poor guy. He can't catch a break. He gets hired to go into his classroom. And the minute he walks in, he makes eye contact with Justin. And Justin looks at him, and Justin gives him the stink eye. Gives him like, "I'm gonna, you're toast" look. And as soon as he gives him that, right after he gives him that stink eye look, he lets him have it. If I remember correctly, he hits him with a fish. Yeah, he attacks him. Poor kid. Poor guy. Oh my goodness, poor guy. Okay. And the final straw, the final scene, the final thing that makes this movie hilarious is that Justin starts it's the day before the 25th, okay? And he sets up all these booby traps around his house to stop Santa Claus from going to his house, okay? He sets up these airplanes that have like these pointy spears on them, and he puts them in the fireplace, okay? He puts hot sauce in these cookies that he sets out with milk. 'Cause, as a child, I don't know about you, but I used to set up cookies and milk for Santa Claus, And he sets out cookies with milk, and he puts hot sauce in the milk and in the cookies. Poor Santa Claus. The things he deals with. And then he sets a bunch of traps around his house. So if Santa Claus happens to land on his roof or on his lawn, he can trap him and beat him up, essentially. Okay? And it so happens that the father comes back early. Because the father was not supposed to come back until the 25th or the day after Christmas, I think, if I remember correctly. But it turns out that he finished early, and he comes back early, and he doesn't tell his family because he wants to surprise them. He comes back, he dresses up as Santa Claus, and the poor guy... the poor guy gets beat up by Justin's booby traps. No joke. The poor guy, he falls into one of his son's traps, and he gets hung up upside down, and then he gets a sprinkler sprayed at him during the winter time. Okay, it's snowing out there, and I can't imagine how cold the poor guy must have felt. And then Justin wakes up and tries to go at Santa Claus. And then the mother, turns off the sprinkler and puts him down, lets him down. Because he's hung upside down, mind you, and he's frozen and he's all wet. Pobrecito. I feel sad for him, okay? And then Justin's mother says, hey, he is not Santa Claus. And then he tells Justin that the guy that she was kissing in the photo wasn't Santa Claus. That it was that it was his father. And Justin is like, oh. And then he just kind of he forgets his anger and they all go to bed. But he forgets to change the cookies and the milk. And he forgets that he left those pointy rocket things in the chimney, okay? So the father is, once his son goes to bed, the father tries to steal a cookie from Santa's, from the cookies he left out. He takes one bite of that cookie and his tongue is burning. So then he tries to drink the milk and guess what? It doesn't help. Why? Because his son put hot sauce in the milk. The poor father. He falls into his son's booby traps. Pobrecito. He comes early to see his family and this is what he gets. He gets throttled. He gets wet. He gets tossed around and hung upside down. He gets cookies that are hot, that are spicy, that have a bunch of hot sauce. Oh my God, poor guy. Okay, but the best scene of all is when they show the real Santa Claus coming down the chimney. Okay, he comes down and those rockets that have the spears prick him. He gets pricked by those things, okay? And they show him coming out of the chimney. And they even show him, grabbing those spears and, taking him out of his rear end and saying, ouch! That's gonna leave a mark. And then he laughs and he says, oh, Justin. Ay, pobrecito. I feel bad for Santa Claus. And that's what makes this movie amazing. All the pranks that this boy pulls, okay? But I also have to admire his tenacity, okay? His love for his family, because his determination to protect his family, okay? But I also have to laugh at all the things he does to this poor Santa Claus, to this poor fake Santa Claus, and then to the real Santa Claus, and then to his father dressed as Santa Claus. It's not a good day to be a Santa Claus when you're with this kid, okay? So that's what makes this movie amazing. So I recommend you watch it. Let me know what you think about this movie. Tell me if you like it. What your opinions are on the movie. And so yeah, that's it for today. Bye. We'll see you tomorrow. Really, I recommend you watch this movie, okay? It is hilarious. I can tell you about this movie, but you won't get the full effect unless you watch it. It is hilarious, all the things this little kid pulls to try to scare Santa away from his house. It is hilarious. Okay, see ya. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Have a good night.